Hello and welcome to my Woolly PhD. My name is Liz Scarf and this is a weekly vlog about what I'm learning and making in my anthropology PhD all about wool in Iceland. And I am now in rural Iceland. Last week I was in Reykjavik. It's my first week here, coming up towards my second week, and I'm finally out in the countryside. I'm in the south of Iceland, just kind of trekking about, checking out the local wool scene. It's pretty exciting. As you see, we have a beautiful day today. We've had several beautiful days in a row. It's so stunning. It's blue skies, green, very green grass, as you can see. And behind me, you probably can't see it, but it's actually looking out to the ocean, eventually. Anyway, I'm pretty happy. It's pretty good. And, but yes, what am I making and learning? Well, I haven't done any academic reading this week, and I think that's probably what you're supposed to do in field work, is really just be in the field as much as you can. And my first, one of the things I'm thinking, I was thinking about a lot in the first few days, is about the anthropologist's body. And there is quite a bit written about this, about the anthropologist isn't just like a thinker in the field, but he's like a body that needs to eat, needs to sleep, needs to go to the bathroom, has all kinds of like basic needs, and that how these different things structure one's experience of life, but when you're researching life, also structures that. So that was something that really struck me in the first few days, actually. I was like, okay, this is what they're talking about in those papers. Anyway, so that was interesting because I haven't really ever noticed it so much in my life, how, like eating, pooping, sleeping kind of thing structure one's experience in such a dramatic way. So that's been really interesting. And this past week, I feel like it's been a really long week, and that I often feel like that when I've done lots of different things in a week, and this week's been really diverse. So I've met with some academics and at the university, which was really great, and they've been very welcoming. And what's have I done? Had some really great chats with staff and owners of wool stores. That's been really, really interesting as well. And and then out to the countryside and meeting and chatting with people who are growing and making and dyeing and spinning and weaving, and it's a really diverse week. Anyway, it's been great. I'm hoping to be out in the countryside for pretty much the rest of this field trip, probably the last week I'll spend back in Reykjavik, just because I don't want to miss my plane, and the weather can be increasingly unpredictable at that time of year, make it hard to travel on the country, on land. So anyway, one thing I learned about was about mittens. Bear with me. And I had this moment where I was getting all excited chatting to this person about mittens, and I just thought, imagine if I specialised in mittens in my PhD. I could be Dr. Mittens. I mean, how cute is that? Well, sorry if the wind's a bit much on the microphone. I forgot the little fluffy thing. I don't think they work very well. Anyway, I was in a yarn store and there was all these books about mittens, and I asked someone there and I said, so what's the deal with mittens? Why not gloves? Because certainly in Melbourne, Australia, like, it's cool in winter. It's cool in spring and autumn as well. But we mostly wear gloves, I think. And I think mostly we don't make them because they're a bit fiddly. But anyway, I was asking, so why mittens and not gloves? She just kind of said, well, because it's cold and, they're warmer. And it made me realise one of the things I picked Iceland for is that I'm really fascinated by how does a really cold climate shape people's lives in the really everyday ways, the kind of shoes people wear, the way they have to scrape ice off their car, or their this or that, just all these little things that are just so interesting, or interesting to me, maybe not everyone. And it occurred to me, so Melbourne is gloves cold, it's not mittens cold. Iceland is mittens cold. And so there's one of those little moments of that's one of the differences being in a very cold climate involves is that, of course, your clothing has to be different, but I hadn't really thought about something as sort of mundane as mittens or gloves. So anyway, that was exciting. But this person also then went on to tell me about how, people in Iceland have been using mittens for hundreds of years, of course, and making them, and the fishermen use them and things, but that actually Latvia has got very exciting mitten history. And now I don't know how much any of this is like valid, right? So if you're from Latvia and you actually know these stories, do chime in the comments. But this person was mentioning how in Latvia, hundreds of years ago, not contemporary Latvia, I don't think so, to get married, a woman would need like a trunk of about 300 mittens that she'd knitted to demonstrate her kind of domestic prowess, I guess, and her skill. And that she could ask a man to marry her by giving him a pair of mittens. And if he accepted the mittens, it was like yes to the proposal. And if he gave them back, that was a no. It's a very touching proposal style, I thought. I thought that was really cute, really sweet. And also just the rejection would be like, you not only don't want me, but you don't want my mittens. Like, there was something about it that caught me. Anyway, they had some amazing books about mittens, and I did buy one. I resisted it the first time I went into this store because it's a heavy book and, luggage and stuff with flights. But then I just couldn't resist it the second time because I also got to chat to the author, who is an amazing, amazing person. So you can go and order this online if you want. You just have to pay the shipping from Iceland. It's called Icelandic Mittens, and it is in English. It's also in Icelandic. I'm not sure what other languages. And what Gudrun, I'm not sure if I'm saying Gudrun did is, these are contemporary versions of old historic mittens that are displayed in the Textile Museum in Iceland. So she'd gone there and kind of worked with the museum to make these contemporary patterns. I'll just see if I can find I was complaining to her about, because we were flicking through some books, she was describing a few things to me, some pattern books, and I was complaining about why don't pattern books have all the patterns that are in the book at the front of the book all in one spot so you can see them, instead of having to flick through every single one. And she showed me the contents page of her book. Oh, it's all the mitten patterns. Anyway, so I think there's 25 and one's a pair of gloves, but they are very beautiful. And I picked out a pair to get started with that I'm going to make for my daughter. And so I think I'm transitioning into the making section of the video. I don't want to say anything else about mittens. But you probably know this already, but people used to knit the mittens with a thumb on each side. So when one wore out, they could just switch it over really quickly. Probably particularly for fishermen who might be out at sea and couldn't do a quick repair. Although I think fishermen were probably actually quite good sewers and repairers of things. Anyway, I'm just talking about things I don't know anything about now. What mittens am I making? I'm making the pair called Layla, I think, and they're just a simple pair with some stripes along here, and then like the lice pattern, like from the Sedestel sweaters of Sweden, I think. Anyway, onto the yarn. I'm using this light fingering weight called this, which means fairy, from the Uppspuni mini mill, and this is so lovely. It's so lovely. Let me just say it here and now. Icelandic wool is not inherently scratchy. It's not inherently scratchy. It depends on the sheep, the fleece itself, of course. Some, like in all breeds, can be rougher than others, but it depends on how it's processed. I would not call this scratchy wool at all. It's not super fine, super soft merino, but it's not scratchy. Not like some of the more commercially produced yarns here for knitting. They are scratchy. Not the scratchiest. Anyway, I'm going to knit it in this dark brown with this light brown contrast. I have cast it on, but it's like I don't know, light fingering on 2mm needles, and I've done 2 rows, so there's nothing to show yet. What is exciting though is I finished my first sleeve of my first Lopa Pacer. I'm knitting this in the Istex wool, which is the commercially produced Icelandic yarn, and yeah, there's the first sleeve done. Yes, I can model it. Oh no, I can't because I've tied it off at the end. Yes, I can. It's gonna be very cozy. Anyway, it's looking good, and I have got to work on the second one. I started this today and it's going well. Yeah, so that's what I'm making. What else am I making? Oh no, that's what I'm resisting making, starting a few things. I really want to, the yarn from Uppspuni, there's a few other weights. So they're a DK or an Aran, or worsted weight, that I'm going to buy, I think, and that's what I was going to tell you. Yes, I'm going to buy some of that and make a sweater, but I am resisting getting into that until I just finish this off, because I also really need a really thick warm sweater here, so I actually just got to get it done. That's what I also, somewhere else I went, and I didn't bring out all the things I got there, but I went to this place run by this woman, Jónína Þórðardóttir, and the name of the place is Fjárhúsloftið, and I think Fjár is sheep and Hús is house, and Lofted is like the loft, so it's the loft above the sheep house, and that's what her store is. It's a loft above her sheep house, and one of the things that she sells there is Icelandic sheep pelts. Aren't these babies gorgeous? Because in Iceland they do have, there's been some selective breeding for pelt sheep, so for sheepskins, and yeah, so, and that was one of my missions here, was to get, well, as many as I could take home, which is not many actually, sheepskins as I could of Icelandic sheep, because they're just so beautiful. Anyway, I got one. It's stunning. I'm so excited about it. There's a picture of one on the back here as well. But I think they ship, so you know, if you want one. But if you're visiting Iceland, I would not recommend getting the sheepskins in the souvenir stores, because they're all brushed out. You don't have any of the curly bits. They're trimmed and brushed out, so they're just kind of floofy. They're not, you don't get all the curly little bits. Anyway, I couldn't bring the sheepskin out here to show you, and haven't put it on Instagram yet. I probably will. Anyway, I also bought some, Jónína also dyes. Actually, she's amazing. If you're like a total yarn nerd and you do all the things, she dyes with plants, and she also weaves. She has on display this traditional dress that she wove that's very gorgeous. And she does this incredible felting of like little seats for when you're hiking, but then also picnic rugs, and finishes them beautifully with these leather clasps and little baby bassinet things, and just really, really creative and thinking about lots of different ways to use the yarn there. So I did also buy some little mini skeins of some hand-dyed yarn from there as well. So that was, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them yet, but they might go into a pair of mittens. Yeah, okay, so they're my adventures so far. Having a great time, partly because the weather's probably really great too. Who knows, it could get, you know, a little tougher as it gets colder and wetter, but I'm just going to enjoy it while it's beautiful. I'm trying to think if there was something else I thought. I didn't bring notes with me today. I'm learning lots of things, of course. I just don't share them all in the video because that would be really long, and also I have to leave something for the thesis. Yeah, okay, maybe that's it for this week. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll be back next week with more woolly hijinks. Take care, bye.